Hi guys, Hotshot here, and welcome back once again to another Evil Dead video. Today, I'm going to say happy anniversary for the 1 year of Evil Dead the game. It's been a rough roller coaster ride, since day one on May 13th of 2022 to now May 13th of 2023. It's been 1 year, and I wanted to give my quality of life changes that the game needs going forward to keep this game up to date and making everybody want to play the game more. So I'm going to start off with something pretty simple. Let's go to the prestige system, and I want to get this out of the way. They did the prestige system right and wrong. They did this incorrectly, most of it, but one of the things they did get right was adding this insignia, which is this emblem around your character. So I think that was cool on their end. I don't agree with buffing your character's active ability. Cool, you get 25 seconds at prestige, and for El Jefe's balance board you get 180 instead of 150, which is not healthy for the game. His active ability is already trash, but what would have made this prestige system better? Take out the El Jefe thing and get rid of the max level. Imagine you get weapon skin for the boomstick, and that's it. You get the insignia, which is your emblem around your character portrait, and you get the weapon skin for your character for the boomstick. Imagine it's like a camo on your boomstick when you pick it up. That would be easy, and the challenges could be simple, get for example, spend 13,500 seconds on the objective. That's ridiculous. One of the challenges could be land 15 headshots with the boomstick as Leader Ash, or in 24 matches you can honestly they could have had it to win 15 matches with El Jefe while using the chainsaw or something. I don't know. Performing 660 finishers, that could have been hit 20 finishers with El Jefe with a sledgehammer or something. I don't know. Or if you want to perform 660 finishers, that could be 30 finishers or something. Perform 390 headshots, this could have been simpler. Have to be hit 10 heavy attacks with the lumberjack axe or something, or like I said earlier, land 15 headshots with the boomstick or something. Spend 90 seconds on the dagger or page and hit 5 finishers. I don't know, something simple like that. I feel with every reward you get, insignia with the weapon skin for the boomstick, the sledgehammer, you get the screamer with the insignia, no buffing up the damage. You can get a screamer with the insignia, simple insignia, and a weapon skin for the lumberjack axe or something. I don't know. This one should be skinned. Prestige 5 should be a legendary skin for your character. Imagine if you get the insignia and you have the legendary skin. Let's say that'd be the finale outfit for Ash, from season 3. Imagine that was the reward you would get, because it should have been skin based, and it should have been weapon skin based, because buffing up the damage on your active ability or reducing cooldowns is just unhealthy for the game. And either they need to trash the prestige system or redo these challenges, because this is just ridiculous. Collecting 1,300 bottles of pink fuck, you can only get so much in the game. So unless you're gonna play Ed every single game to get pink fuck and find it quicker with legendary crates, then you really have to grind to do that. And I think they wanted it to be grindy, but not they wanted it to be super long where you have to get this shit, which is ridiculous. This could have been simple, land a certain amount of headshots with a certain weapon. That could have been easy, but they made it hard. They shouldn't have buffed the damage or anything on your character's active abilities or anything on the demon side or the survivors, because that makes it unbalanced. So they should have been weapon-based and skin-based, and these challenges need to be a little bit easier to do, or they can just trash the whole prestige system too. That could also be a thing. But knowing them, they probably won't do that, so let's get on to something else that's in mind. So for quality of life, I'm going to go to the demon side. They need to buff certain demons and give them a little bit of a rework. Henrietta is like the biggest one because her gameplay is not that great. And if you get to bad influence, I'm gonna say master of influence, really bad influence. So this buffs up your units by a certain amount. Yeah, this isn't really great. Like, how come Plaguebringer has a second health phase and no other demon has a second health phase? Like, Henrietta can have her long neck shoot out at you when she comes back to life. Evil Ash can go into a skeleton form and have like a thing where he's on fire and his attack speed is increased for a certain amount of time and he's slashing and doing like bleed damage or something with the sword. That could have been cool. I don't know how you would do Elagos and Ball, but Ball's just recently added to the game, so, you know, something unique could be done with these characters to make them feel better, but overall, like, they need to feel more rewarding. I know Ball's been a hot topic in the community recently because of how he is right now. He is really strong to play. I've seen a lot of Prestige 5 Ball players already, so everyone's basically gonna have him maxed out, and overall he's fun, but like, why didn't Evil Ash or Henrietta get buffed in this patch that recently came out? And it's unfortunate they didn't, because they deserve either a buff or a rework. Evil Ash honestly needs to be looked at too. Now, I would say his kit is okay. They missed out on a couple of things. I'll be honest, he has like one of the worst elite units in the game. They are way too slow. Their attacks, that when they have high defense, which is fine, but overall, like, they should trash this elite unit and have his Deadite Captain be the elite unit, because that was a missed out opportunity. Because with if we're looking at the lore, like, Evil Ash had a Deadite Captain in the Army of Darkness in the movie, and he was able to control his group of skeletons, like leading the Army of Darkness to charge Castle Kandar. Like, in the game, he could have like a war flag that like buffs up the defense or the balance bar or something, or give them healing over time. I don't know, but the basic units are fine, but the elite unit, he has like a shitty one. So my honest opinion, they should trash the skeleton elite and give us the Deadite Captain. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, you should look up Army of Darkness Deadite Captain online, and you'll see like a guy, he has like an eye patch with a helmet like similar to the one on the screen. It's a little different though, but you'll see what I'm talking about, and then you'll say, oh, I know what he's talking about. Evil Ash needs to be able to command his skeletons like he did in the movie. I've always said this from any video I talk about him in, even with the advanced guide and certain other stuff. But overall, like, every demon should have something. Now, I don't want Evil Ash to get like a massive buff, but like something to make him feel rewarding to play. He's too slow, he's too clunky, he doesn't have anything to do with ranged attacks, and he's more of like a support demon than anything else. Like, so summoning skeletons, reviving skeletons is a problem. Flute to kill, honestly, like, yeah, it's cool that it buffs damage and gives us damage reduction, but overall, like, the problem with this flutist is sometimes the audio can get buggy where you can't hear it. The main problem I have with it is when you're playing this guy and you have flute to kill, and so you put down the flutist and he gets found quickly, you're just utterly useless the whole time, because that's the only thing that makes Evil Ash decent, is if you put skeletons around the flutist and they get trapped in there, but the game like freaks out when it lags. But I don't know how you could rework him in a way. I don't know if they would consider, I don't know. It's a hard thing. They need to do something with the flutist to make him feel better, because he just honestly feels like a joke. But if they want to do something else, I don't know, but we'll see. Alright, so the next point I really want to go into, and this is one of my biggest problems, is, in my honest opinion, and this is just opinionated, but they need to trash legendary weapons and they need to trash purple weapons. And I know what you guys are about to say, what? Why should they? So here's my problem. So legendary weapons and purple weapons, they sound cool on paper because it's an upgraded version of any weapon. Like, for instance, let's look at Scotty, for example. Scotty has the legendary Lumberjack Mastery. And, you know, he gets 5% extra damage, 20% balance bar, 20% extra dismemberment, and 5% attack speed. That doesn't sound too crazy. But since he has 5 points in his pink fuck upgrades, all warriors have their attack speed is increased, and then they get that 5% and then extra 20% on top of that. Scotty with a legendary Lumberjack axe in purple can do about 1100 and damage, or 1100 damage on those attacks, and I'm like, why should he be able to do that much? Like, don't you think that's a bit ridiculous? And like playing Evil Ash or Henrietta or even any character that can just, like, for example, Evil Ash is like the biggest example, or Henrietta even, because their characters are just, they're on the ground and you're moving while you're attacking them. And when you're facing a team that has legendary weapons, they just completely shred you. And there's no there's no perks on the demon side of the skill trees that have a thing where they can, or even legendary long weapons, or like for example, like if Hunter Ash had the legendary double barrel, or if Amanda has a legendary pistol with her mastery, or if Kelly has a boomstick, or Ed has a legendary crossbow. You know, there's no perks on the skill tree that make it so you take reduced damage from long-ranged attacks, and which is unfortunate because legendary weapons, I feel like, and purple weapons take the skill out of the game, and I think commons and blues are perfectly fine because we have perks to really deal with, you know, taking reduced balance bar. You have max health, and I can deal with that. I'd rather have a team with blue weapons and common weapons, and they can honestly give them something else instead if they want, or just keep it where legendary weapons shouldn't do that much damage. They can nerf legendary weapons and blue and purple weapons, which is fine. I think legendary weapons and purple weapons really take the skill out of the game, because I don't see that being like really skillful gameplay, because they really just, like, the damage numbers are just way too much. Like Scotty doing 1100 damage on a Lumberjack axe with a legendary, that's just that's broken. You know, that should not be in the game. You know, Mia doing with her machete, she's doing, like, I've seen her do about almost 1200 damage. Ridiculous. Like, Army of Darkness Ash has the same thing with the legendary chainsaw, doing 1100 damage with the legendary weapon. Fucking broken. Like, that shit should not be in the game. You know, Lord Arthur can have a legendary sword, and his shit isn't too high, but it buffs up the other one. So imagine him with a legendary sword, and you're buffing Scotty, and you do like probably. I think I saw Scotty do like 2,000 damage with the Lumberjack axe for legendary, and it's fucking stupid. You know, Amanda can just melt you with a pistol if you're managing your fear. I can't speak. When you manage your fear enough, she can just pop a pistol with her active, and she can just melt the boss in seconds, and that's just unfair. You know, same with Ed with the crossbow. He can just instantly reload quickly and just keep firing off the crossbow like it doesn't matter, because he doesn't give a shit about your skill. That's a problem I have with just legendary weapons and purples. They just really take the skill out of the game, and I don't think that should be in the game, period. They just, like I say, I'm not trying to cry and say, like, oh, I'm just bad at the game. I just think that it rewards bad players. And that's just my opinion. I think it rewards bad players for people that just have a weapon in the game, and they should remove that out the game, because it just isn't fair enough unless you make it so you take less damage from a certain rarity, which I think that'd be a waste of time, unless you say they take reduced damage from ranged weapons from a certain distance, which would also be dumb. You should have it to where they should take reduced damage from ranged weapons, period, on the skill tree. If you trash a perk that's not useful, like imagine Annie, Hunter Ash, a support Ash, and let's see, or no, Annie, Hunter Ash, support Ash, and Kelly, for instance. Like, our two hunters, Annie and support Ash. Support Ash can mark you with his active, or one of his perks. When he marks a survivor, you gain healing and do double damage. Imagine you get Hunter Ash with Annie, and Annie buffs up range damage, and you have a Hunter Ash on that team with Kelly, and with Kelly's active ability, she does bleed damage. Hunter Ash has weapon mastery with the double barrel. Imagine he gets a legendary one, and imagine if Annie has a legendary hunting rifle. The boss would die in like 3 seconds. It wouldn't matter. So, purple or legendary, that shit needs to go. And I know people are going to be like, well, how should survivors have different looting capabilities if we can't find that? It should just be commons and blues. Because imagine, like, I honestly think a blue boomstick is way more balanced than the common one. And I'd rather have the game be common and rare focused, because that wouldn't take any skill. I'd rather than have like legendary skins, or like rare, or what is it, common, rare, I forget the purples, but or epics, I'm sorry, that's what it is. It's common, rare, epic, legendary. They could have, epic skins. They could have legendary skins in the game, but I don't fuck with how does, I don't know, it's a hard topic to really go on, but in my honest opinion, if they trash legendary weapons and trash legendary and epic weapons, the game would be more balanced that way, because it would require skill to actually use weapons that aren't crazy. I mean, Scotty does a lot of damage with the lumberjack axe anyway, but I'd rather him have the common rare weapon than a legendary, because he can just one-shot any troop basically with that anyway, and he's gonna melt balance bar as well. And I don't know how they would, so basically they would have to get rid of blacksmith's ability to craft legendary weapons and epic weapons. So he would just only craft blue and common. So unless you somehow find a different alternative, then that would be something that they would have to look into to say, hey, this is a problem and we need to address this. Like, yeah, I mean, they can still have crates that can give 4 pink F and 3 pink fucks, or 4 pink fucks, but it would have to be a different supply crate number. But I don't know. They need to either, like, they did something cool with the treasure chests. They can put the treasure chests as replacements in the maps that are not Castle Kandar. But it's up to them to decide on what they want, because, in my honest opinion, like, legendary weapons just ruin the game. And so do epics, because of just their damage numbers and, like, the weapon masteries that they get. Like, he's going to do a lot more damage from a headshot than he normally would with the regular common weapon. Like, they just need to look at damage numbers, or they can nerf legendaries and epics. That's fine, but it takes time for them to actually look at stuff that's not too busted. So that is just my hot take on legendary and epic weapons. I want to talk about the demon side again, so let's look at the demon side too. Alright, so let's talk about the demons. So we already talked about the prestige system. We talked about the epic and legendary situation. Let's talk about demons a little bit more on just overall their kits. And this includes Ball because he just dropped. Overall, like, the demon side is lackluster compared to the survivor side a little bit as of now, just in terms of gameplay mechanics and their abilities. So Warlord is the weakest demon in the game. It'd be Warlord, Necromancer being the second worst, Elagos being the third best, Ball being second, and Plaguebringer being still the best demon in the game. Or you can have Ball and her tied together, which is fine. I have my issues with every demon, so Warlord's like the shittiest demon in the game, which is a problem. Yeah, her whole kit is just based around making you, like, buff your units, making them tankier, and them doing more damage. So Warlord's like the tankiest demon in the game. She has a lot of health, max defense, max damage, really slow, but has 3 on abilities. They need to give Henrietta, like, a second health phase, like, with every, like, Plaguebringer, like, or overall, like, every demon, I messed up. Every demon needs to be like Plaguebringer and have a second health phase. And the reason why I say that is because mechanically, like, imagine if Warlord comes back and when she comes back, she stretches out her neck like she did in the TV show with Ash vs. Evil Dead, or just like Evil Dead 2. That'd be like a unique mechanic in the game because it'd make the game more interesting, and it fits her lore because she doesn't have that base kit. Evil Ash can have something unique as well, where he can come back to life in his skeleton form, and he can be on fire, and his attack speed, his abilities can come back quicker, and he can be a lot tankier to take down, or he can be less tanky and vulnerable, but have quicker attack speed to damage the survivors. That would be a unique part of his kit. Ball can maybe do that too, to where, like, he's in his, like, where he has, like, no skin on him, and he's like a meat puppet. I don't know, something similar to that. All demons should have a second health phase. They can have something creative for Ball and Elagos. I don't know how Elagos would come back as a second health phase, but he should deserve one too, because he got robbed in the show. He was only around for 2 episodes, which is unfortunate, but I have my problems with Ball. 2 things. Just I talked about this in the Does Ball Deserve a Nerf video. Does Ball deserve a nerf? And I think the only problems I have with Ball is just his infinite possession looping and his animations being slow when he recovers, because, like, he just swipes his hair every time he recovers from his attack, or into the combo chain. So I think they need to relook at his animations and fix them. Give him bug fixes as well for any bugs that he has with the grabs. All the grab attacks in this game need to make sure that their bugs aren't broken. The only thing for Ball they need to change is just his infinite possession looping and his animations. So animations and infinite looping, or infinite possession spam, which is ridiculous that he has, or infinite trap spam. Either wording. Plaguebringer, all she really needed on her changing was just fixing her knockback. I think her speed was fine already because I got used to it. I don't know if this sounds like too much of a complaint, but I just think, like, her trapping survivors in the basement of, like, the cabin map is ridiculous, but that could just be me. But you could probably deal with that and destroy it, but, like, if you're on your own in solo queue, you're kind of fucked. Also, let me point out that the only thing that they needed to change on Plaguebringer was just getting rid of her knockback, and then otherwise she would have been a fine demon to go against. Not just and it would have been more fun to deal with her, because her being a ranged demon is cool, but, like, being knocked back every 2 seconds with her basic attacks is just obnoxious. That was, like, my only problem with her that they needed to fix. I mean, I guess the speed nerf is not as noticeable, but she's still strong, so she's not, like, weak. So she's not bad to play. Elagos has a huge problem. Elagos's power possessed is way more than his boss unit, which is a huge problem. Like, how does a power possessed unit, like a power possessed basic unit, do way more than a fucking boss unit? Like, that's ridiculous. They need to nerf his power possess or something, or give him a completely different style kit. And they need to buff up the boss's basic damage and increase his health to, like, the highest, not like the super highest amount, but, like, give him a decent amount of health on his, like, defense. Buff up his defense to the maximum. You know, buff his damage up a little higher. I think his shock, his what's it called? I mean, his abilities are decent enough, I think. Or if you want to buff them up a little bit more, you can. I just think his health and defense need to be buffed up a little bit, and you should nerf his power possessed damage and health, because they're just ridiculous, because 4 heavies on a power possess and doing all that damage is just fucking ridiculous. Like, that is just way too much for just one character. Evil Ash has some problems too. His active ability should be looked at, because what happens when the flutist dies? He's just useless. Like, what can you really say or do? Because, like, without the flutist, like, what's his whole kit based around? Just protecting the flutist the whole time, which is a real pain in the ass to do. You know, his whole kit says, his whole description says he commands the army of darkness, but he doesn't have a command feature in the game where he can command the skeletons to attack a certain survivor. That's a huge problem in the game, and I don't know why they decided that was a smart idea to do so. You know, his elite unit is like one of the worst elites in the game. You know, having the ability to, like, be super slow, like, his defense is high and his abilities are high, it's just his damage and speed are really low. And they should honestly just trash his skeleton elite and put his Deadite captain in and give him some cool abilities, like having a war flag to inspire your units to, like, attack a certain survivor, or have his Deadite captain do something unique, or I don't know. It's hard to say. If you don't know what I'm talking about, his Deadite captain is in the movie. It's like Evil Ash's right-hand man. That could have been his basic, or his elite unit, I'm sorry. That should have been his elite. But, yeah, Evil Ash needs to be able to command his skeletons. His active ability needs a rework. I think his whole kit could be looked at, too, if they want. And they should just buff the bosses overall and make them more tankier and make their damage a little bit higher, and they would be solid, because all the demons need to be at balls level of strong. Not brain dead easy, but something to make them feel more rewarding, in a sense, for them to be decently, because they have a huge problem where they lack a lot in certain situations. Like, Henrietta's like the worst demon in the game, and she's like really strong in the show, so I don't know how her TV show counterpart is stronger than her video game counterpart. It's fucking ridiculous and sad. They need to buff bosses in the game to make them tankier. They can do a little bit more damage than they normally do, and pretty much that is all they need. Ball's really strong right now, and him and Plague Ringer are just taking over the meta. I see Ball almost every game, so hopefully they look at these updates and they look at these characters and give them more of the reworks that they normally should have. So that's pretty much it on the demon side. It's time to wrap up overall about this year's birthday. So let's talk about that in just a second. So to wrap everything up, with everything I talked about, with demon stuff being changed, survivor stuff being changed as well, you know, I feel like outfit opportunities that was missed, like Ashy Slashy's puppet, you know, he has Ashy Slashy, right? And then Ashy Slashy doesn't even talk in this game, and yet he talks in Dead by Daylight, which is a pain in the ass. But because it doesn't make any sense to me how they got the actor to voice him in Dead by Daylight, and they didn't get to voice him in this game, so that was a missed opportunity on their end. It is a huge pain in the ass, because how does Ash's own game not have him talk? So a real L on their part. Amanda was supposed to get like 2 outfits, and she only got 1. The other one was apparently like a work in progress and was scrapped, and that was a huge L. To summarize everything, there's a lot of stuff for characters. For instance, like Leader Ash should probably just have the chainsaw mastery, because I don't see why he shouldn't, and he should probably start with the boomstick too, because he did that in the show. It fits his lore. He starts with a lot of shit. Annie can be looked at too. She's gotten bug fixes with her active, but they could tweak her numbers a little bit. Lord Arthur needs hyper armor in his active ability, and I think he'd be like a really solid leader. He should take reduced damage when he has his Lord Wrath's active, so because he's like, sometimes I feel like he's like a warrior at this point, like a leader warrior hybrid, like have him tank damage, and he already buffs up the team's melee, so hyper armor on him would be great. Ruby's active needs a nerf. Brock could honestly get his colas reduced, because him and Cheryl can carry about 13 colas in total, so that's a huge no-no in the game, so they could take that out. Mia's kit needs to be looked at. She needs to be able to hold the chainsaw, because she does that in the movie, so I don't know why she can't do that in the game, so that's a huge L. Henry's active needs to be looked at. Scotty's active should be looked at too. It doesn't do enough damage, in my opinion. That can be buffed. Army of Darkness Ash could use 2 changes. Give him the Spear Mastery, and nerf his Shield Blast, because I feel like the damage reduction on his potion wasn't really that crazy. They could have just nerfed the Shield Blast. That was just a problem. They could probably nerf Hunter Ash's cooldown on his active. That was a pain in the ass. You could rework Ed a little bit more, because his kit is just trap and loot RNG related, so they could give him something else to benefit him. Kelly, honestly, she needs a rework, because I think her having infinite dodging is a pain in the ass for the other side. It's good for the damage. I think that needs to be changed, so they can consider it. Probably not, unless they think she's good enough. Fine. Amanda needs a big rework, because she's like the worst hunter in the game by far. Support Ash is definitely, he got reworked a long time ago. He's perfectly fine. I know I said before he should have the shovel mastery, but people can change their minds. Maybe he should, maybe he shouldn't, but I'd say he's alright. Cheryl needs a nerf. She could use something else. Cheryl, in my opinion, is just a boring healing simulator, so that's just something that they need to look into. They need to look at her numbers, or just rework her. Something simple. Pablo can use a healing buff, because he doesn't heal enough with his colas, so they can buff Pablo up. I wouldn't mind that. David needs a buff because of how his weapon mastery is terrible, so they need to look into his kit a little bit more to make him feel better. Blacksmith is like the worst character in the game by far. He's still fun to play, but he's shit. They can make his crafting speed faster, because he's slow as shit. So that's it for the survivors. Overall, for the DLCs this year, I'm gonna give the game I'm thinking either a 5 out of 10 or a 7, because I'm a huge Evil Dead fan. I love the game regardless, but it has its issues that they need to fix. They need better communication. They need to talk to the community more. You can say, well, they talk in Discord. They answer like 3 questions and then leave. That's it. They need to look into they need to look at feedback more. They need to do gameplay videos before a DLC comes out, so everybody gets a brief understanding of what that is. They need to grab content creators that are playing the game still and giving it a chance. They need to look at how they need a marketplace. They need a roadmap. They need all these specific things with the community, so that everybody can get hyped around it to save up spirit points for the next character. There's characters that should come to the game: Chet, Brandy, Dalton, the Knights of Samaria, Sheila, Heather, if you want, because she's like a really popular character for some odd reason, and she only appeared for like about 5 or 10 minutes on episode whatever on season 1 of Ash vs. Evil Dead. You know, they could add Wise Man. They could add Coogie from that Evil Ruby would be great. You know, Marvel Zombies DLC. They could add Resident Evil, Freddy and Jason. Those characters, those should all come in the game, and I'm hoping that there's supposed to be 2 more missions to complete the story. So hopefully, whatever they got planned, they do better on. They need to improve on communication, marketing, roadmap. All these things that they need to put on the table, talk about what they're updating next, what they could be working on, just asking the community how they're feeling about this and this. That's what they need to work on. If they step their game up, this game has a bright future. If they just keep doing what they're doing now and just staying radio silent after an update, this is a fucking L. And I don't want this game to die. That's just my whole concern. I'm hoping that it doesn't, because this is my main game. I love every second of it, and I don't want this game to fail on me. So hopefully things go great. Other than that, I love Evil Dead the game, and I hope it has this bright future ahead. And that's pretty much it for me, guys. That's my overall quality of life changes / stuff that Saber needs to do to fix the game a little bit better. And hopefully Saber watches this and they see how I'm feeling, and hopefully they step their game up a little bit more, because that's what I want from them. But other than that, thank you guys so much for watching. You know what to do. Like, comment, and sub, and I will catch you guys on the next video. And as always, stay groovy.